Scrum Masters Elite _UK, Insights from Sports to Life. Analysis of Black Ferns and Lessons in Leadership and Perseverance. Subscribe to explore.
When reading about the Black Ferns' preparation for their Pacific 4 Series opener against the USA, I didn't just see a simple sports update. Instead, I sensed a multi-layered picture of journey, identity, pressure, opportunity, and the deeper values that sport brings, not only to athletes, but also to fans and the broader community. The first thing that caught my attention was the introduction of new faces: Mia Anderson, Tara Turner, and Justine McGregor, players who made debut off the bench. On the surface, this is merely a tactical decision, but on a deeper level, it reflects an unchanging principle of elite sport: succession. No team can stay at the top forever without constant renewal. These newcomers carry not only personal ambition, but also represent the next generation, those who will continue writing the team's story in the future. I think about their journey. To earn even a small opportunity, perhaps just a few minutes on the field, they have undoubtedly endured countless training sessions, failures, doubts, and moments of wanting to quit. This leads me to a clear realization: success rarely comes from dramatic leaps, but rather from steady accumulation over time. In my own life, perhaps I need to reconsider how I evaluate progress. Am I too eager for immediate results? Or patient enough to commit to the long road like these athletes?
Another notable moment is Captain Ruahei Demant's milestone as the most capped captain in Black Ferns history. Numbers like 36 matches may sound like simple statistics, but behind them lies a story of trust, responsibility, and the ability to sustain excellence over time. As captain, she must not only perform well, but also inspire, maintain team spirit, and make decisions under pressure. This makes me reflect on the concept of leadership. In everyday life, we often think of leadership as a position or title. But through Demant's example, it becomes clear that leadership is a process of building trust day by day. No one becomes a leader through a single match or a moment of brilliance. It is the result of consistency, discipline, and the ability to place collective interests above personal ones. From a fan's perspective, this story also carries an important message. It's easy to be drawn to spectacular tries and dominant wins, like last year's 79-14 victory over the USA. But if we focus only on results, we miss the essence of sport, the journey behind it. When we understand the effort, sacrifice, and pressure athletes face, our support becomes deeper and more meaningful. Another point that impressed me was Coach Whitney Hansen's comment on the team's rugby identity. She emphasized that this identity is not entirely new, but rather a refinement of what already exists. This suggests a valuable idea: development does not always mean completely discarding the old. Sometimes, real progress comes from understanding who you are, what you already have, and improving it step by step.
In personal life, this applies clearly. Many people, including myself, sometimes feel the need for a complete transformation to improve. But in reality, sustainable change often comes from refining and upgrading what already exists. Just like a team doesn't overhaul its entire strategy after one season, but gradually adjusts to become more complete. Looking at the starting lineup, I see a balance between experience and youth, between established players and those seeking opportunities. This is the foundation of a strong team, not overly dependent on one individual, yet not lacking solid pillars. It reminds me of work or learning environments. True growth happens when there is harmony between generations, between leaders and learners. From a broader community perspective, the story of the Black Ferns carries even greater meaning. Sport, especially women's sport, is not just about competition, but also a symbol of social progress. The recognition, media attention, and opportunities for female athletes to compete on major stages represent an important step toward gender equality. This influence extends beyond sport, inspiring many other fields. A young girl watching this match might see herself reflected in the players on the field. She may realize that her dreams, whether in sport or any other area, are valid and worth pursuing. That is the true power of events like this. They don't just produce results on a scoreboard, but also shape perspectives and beliefs. However, it's also important to maintain objectivity. The Black Ferns enter the match as favorites, especially after last year's dominant win. But that status brings pressure. When you're expected to win, every mistake is magnified, every misstep scrutinized. Meanwhile, the USA team may play with more freedom, ready to create an upset.
This reminds me that in life, being in a leading position isn't always comfortable. Sometimes, those in underdog positions have a psychological advantage. What matters is not where you stand, but how you respond to that position, bringing all these elements together: new players, historic milestones, team identity, competitive pressure, and community impact. I realize that a sports match is actually a large, multi-layered story. Each person, depending on their perspective, will draw different lessons. For me, the biggest lesson is perseverance and consistency. No success comes by chance. Whether it's a debutant or a record-setting captain, everything is the result of a long process. It makes me ask myself, how seriously am I pursuing my own goals? For fans, the lesson is to view sport more deeply, not just wins and losses, but the journey, the people, and the values behind them. That makes watching a match a far more meaningful experience, and for the community, this story highlights the role of sport as a tool for education and inspiration. It teaches teamwork, respect, discipline, and the ability to push beyond limits, values that matter not just on the field, but in every aspect of life. Ultimately, what stands out most to me is the sense of connection. A match played in Sacramento, broadcast to New Zealand, and viewed on YouTube can still resonate with someone halfway across the world. That shows that sport has no borders. It connects people through genuine emotions, joy, excitement, disappointment, and hope, and perhaps those emotions are what give sport its lasting value, far beyond any numbers or titles.
Scrum Masters Elite_UK says goodbye for now. The journey, identity, and lessons from the Black Ferns continue. Stay persistent. Keep learning, and see you again.